What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Enigmatica 6, and today we're going to be diving headfirst into some PneumaticCraft. So because today's episode is focused around PneumaticCraft, I thought it was only appropriate we start out today's episode over here with Greg the Wither, our very explosive friend who luckily is still trapped inside his stasis chamber. He has not caused any issues for us as of yet, but obviously there is always the looming danger of something going wrong, and this guy just blowing up the base. So I figured he's basically the perfect thing to pray to that we do not blow something up today, because one of the only things that I know about PneumaticCraft is that there is the risk of blowing things up, which obviously makes sense because you're messing around with very high pressure systems, and if you overpressurize something, it is going to blow up and you are going to have a very bad day. So we're hoping that doesn't happen today, but we're also hoping that maybe if we give like an offering to Greg the Wither, that'll make it even less likely. So we'll toss him some cooked mutton. It's at least something he can look at. He can't eat it, but you know what? It's something he can look at. Now, I've done a little bit of prep work for today's episode, but it's slightly different than the prep work I normally do, because if we take a look at my inventory, it's pretty empty. And if we take a look in my backpack right here, it's also pretty empty. So I have not gone ahead and crafted a bunch of stuff for today's episode because we're going to be exploring PneumaticCraft together, at least for my first time, and hoping that nothing goes wrong. And if it does, well, then you guys will see it on camera and hopefully you'll get a good laugh out of it. But I figured we would actually use the quest book that is in the game from the Enigmatica team that's got a huge quest line for PneumaticCraft, which is right here. Obviously, there's a bunch of different portions of the quest you can go down, so depending on what you want to mess around with first, but hopefully this will guide us a suitable amount so that we can set stuff up. And then on top of that, there's also an in-game manual, which I can take a look at if I get confused. But really, I have never messed around with PneumaticCraft before. You guys have asked for it a ton, and so we're going to do that today. Now, I did do a little bit of prep work with the basement, and we can head down there right now. So this is where we're going to set stuff up. I figured we needed a new area to set up the PneumaticCraft stuff because it doesn't really seem suited for this sort of dark oak or spruce or, wood going on here. It doesn't really seem appropriate to set it up here. So instead, we've got a little bit more of this gray room, a little bit more of a mechanical area down here we'll be setting this up in. I do know that this kind of looks like the room that a Saw movie would start out in, and for some reason, it's literally making me claustrophobic in the game. And I think that's because there are no windows in here, and there's no other rooms to go to. So once we kind of expand on this and have some hallways going different places, I think it'll be a little bit better. But let me know what you guys think of this room. I'm not totally sold on it right now, but I think it will look better when we have hallways and stuff in here. It could use a splash of color though, because man, this thing really looks like a serial killer's basement right now. Like there's going to be, I don't know. It's, we're keeping it PG here, but seriously, it looks like this is coming from like an episode of Criminal Minds or something. And, they're going to be like trying to rescue people that are kidnapped and stuck down here. So, again, I hope it looks better once this PneumaticCraft stuff is in here, but at least the colors will match it properly, with what we're setting up today. So, I have made a wireless crafting grid. I have hooked it up to our system upstairs so that we can just stay down here and hopefully craft everything that we need. And we can start jumping into this. So in the quest book, the one thing I want to do first is I have done a lot of refined storage stuff so far. So we have a couple quests that we need to finish for this. So we are just going to collect all those quest rewards and we're just kind of going to dump them into our system. So we got some ender pearls, which is nice. We got some of these kind of miscellaneous things. So we can just kind of dump those into our system and those should be good. Now we're all fresh so that everything we collect is going to be from completed PneumaticCraft quests. So to start things out, let's come down here and you have the very first quest, which all we have to do is complete it, but it's basically just going to give us a pneumatic wrench, I guess, which I'm assuming is going to be like the wrench for PneumaticCraft. It looks like it is charged, so I'm going to assume that this does need to be charged to use it. So if we complete this, we should be able to get that. And there we go. So now we kind of got to pick which of these we want to go down. And I think the one that I want to go down is going to be this tree right here to start, because I've seen from looking at stuff, a lot of the crafting requires certain things that are made inside the pressurized reactor, I think it's called. And I believe we make those using the setup from right here, which is going to be the pressure chamber walls, the interfaces, and the pressure chamber valves. So I want to get that set up so that we can do some of the crafting. And before we do that, if we actually take a look at the recipe for the pneumatic armor, it's right here. And you can see if we look at it, it's basically all the same. It's just going to be the compressed iron version of that piece surrounded by a bunch of air canisters, which are really not that hard to make. And then you have the printed circuit board, which is made using a couple different things, but you have the unassembled PCB, which requires stuff that I don't know. But then you also have things like the transistor, which is made in the pressure chamber. Okay, so it's not a pressure reactor, it's pressure chamber. But so that's one of the things that we need for this. So figured we'd set that up today. And there's also a bunch of other stuff. We're going to need all these different sort of upgrades that go into the armor, since it's modular armor, kind of like the mechanism one. And so we should get started with that. So we need to craft out 23 pressure chamber walls and stuff. The recipes for these take reinforced bricks, which take reinforced stone. And the first thing you're going to start out with is compressed iron, because you make the reinforced stone using some form of stone and compressed iron. And compressed iron is made using explosion crafting to start. Obviously, the pressure chamber can be used to make compressed iron once you have it, which is nice because you don't need to blow stuff up anymore. Obviously, some people want to blow stuff up, but I'd prefer not to. So we're going to have to blow some stuff up right now to make our initial compressed iron. So we need to make some TNT, which means we are just going to pop into our crafting grid and we're going to make some regular TNT. I know some people use like the mini TNT or the tiny TNT. I don't even know if that's in the Enigmatica pack, but we're going to go with regular full-size TNT. And we're just going to grab out a couple of these, and then we're just going to make like a redstone torch or something. We'll just grab one of these out to trigger it off. And then we need some iron. So we've got plenty of iron. I don't know if there's a cap on the amount of iron you can blow up, but we're going to try and do like 9 stacks. So if we lose some of this, whatever. But now we got to go upstairs and we're going to come outside somewhere where we can blow this up. Maybe I haven't fixed these creeper holes. So clearly I'm not really concerned about explosions occurring out here, but maybe we will go somewhere. What if we go here? This is like a snowy village out in the middle of nowhere. So we'll just blow up their land. That's totally fine, right? We'll be like an oil and gas company or something that goes into this nice little quaint area, pays them a bunch of money, and then just destroys their land with fracking and stuff like that, except we're blowing up stuff to make compressed iron. So either way, we're going to grab out our TNT and we are going to get out our iron. And I should probably put down the TNT first. So we'll put that here. And then we're just going to dump all of the iron out of our inventory right next to it. And so we got 9 stacks here, if I counted properly. No, I'm picking them up. Okay, there we go. So then we should be good to take our redstone torch and just blow this up. And we're going to hope. Okay, there we go. The explosion is done. For some reason, I had the grass path here and every side had the grass path on it, which meant that the torch didn't want to be placed down on this. It wanted to connect to the side of the TNT, and then it didn't trigger the TNT, which still doesn't really make sense to me because technically the torch is on there. But now we have a lot of junk in here from blowing that up, and we have all of our compressed iron. So if we take a look, it looks like we lost some of it. Obviously, it's probably going to be a not lossless process when you blow this up, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5. So that's really not that bad, all things considered. And let's find out again where the waystone is to go home, because it's becoming nighttime out. And there we go. Okay, so now we got to head back downstairs and dump all this junk that I don't want from blowing stuff up back into our system. And we can just kind of do that down here using our wireless crafting grid. So let's just dump all that junk in there. And now we have our compressed iron. So then we are going to use this to make our, I guess we technically can start out at the, pressure chamber walls and stuff, and then go from there. So I'm going to craft up all the pressure chamber walls and all that stuff needed for the quest, and then we'll pop back. Okay, so I did majority of the crafting that we should need, if not an excessive amount of it. As you can see, we've got some pressure chamber walls, some pressure chamber glass, which you don't even really need. It could just be walls as far as I know, but it'll look nicer if we can see inside. We've got a valve, we've got 2 interface, and then some pressurized tubes. Still got a fair bit of compressed iron that's not even in my system, and then a bunch of the bricks that are in there that are used to craft things like the wall. And we've got some stuff in here to collect. So we have completed this, and obviously, like I said, we went above and beyond because we only needed 23 of the pressure chamber walls, none of the glass, but we can now collect this, and let's take a look at what we got. Did we get anything fun? We got prismatic cobwebs? Seriously? I went out of my way to craft these and getting all the stuff for this last episode to deal with the bad curse on the infinity drill. And now we just get 8 of them. I mean, I guess that's good. And we could do some more enchants on the infinity drill since I didn't have stuff to make more of these. But, and then we got paper. It looks like we got some pressure tubes, and that seems to be it. Unless I'm like blind right now and I'm missing it. But either way, we can just kind of dump those back in here. And I think we should have everything to get started. The one thing that I want to do is craft up the manual first. So I think we need to just search up. I don't actually know what it's called, but I think it's on the second page here. And yeah, so we have the PNCR manual, which is just a book and a compressed iron ingot. So this is hopefully going to be useful when I get extremely confused, which happens a lot when I'm playing with stuff I have no clue about. And this looks really similar. This has to use the same thing as Britannia has. This looks identical to that. So that's actually really cool. Clearly it's got a bunch of sections in here, but we've got the basic concepts. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, there's so much in here. Okay, well, I guess there's not some of these sections. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess there's a reason that Chosen Architect in his videos when he does this says that this is a mod that he only uses when he has to, not because he wants to, because it's got a lot more realism in it than fun sometimes. But I like the realistic stuff, so that should be fun for us today. But I believe if we take a look, then we're going to go through all these books and have them out. When we take a look at the quest book, this says that you're supposed to make a 3x3x3 pressure chamber, but as far as I know, you can scale that up. So I'm going to see if we can make a 5x5x5. I know that that's just going to take longer to pressurize, or at least it should, because obviously it's a larger area. So you're going to need to take significantly more time to create that amount of pressure within that area when you hook it up to a closed system. So that's totally fine by me. We're going to make plenty of the air compressors in here, which I guess we have some of the pressure tubes needed for this, but we're going to do that, and I think we're just going to set it up in one of these corners over here. So let's see if I know how to set this up properly. So I think we're going to treat this just like the mechanism ones, and we're going to start out with setting down, is this, yeah, okay, so this is perfectly sized too, so it's 5 high. So I'm assuming that we want the sides of it to be the pressure chamber walls. So then we'll do come out 5, and we're going to do that again over here. And it looks like I'm going to need to make some more of this. And wow, this is going to take up a lot of this room. Looks like I should have made this a bit bigger. At least it'll hopefully look nice. And then I guess technically we don't need glass to be used for these walls, but we'll make the ceiling just straight up out of the walls. We'll make the bottom out of the walls too. And then we'll fill this in. And it looks like we ran out of resources. So either way, I'm going to have to make, if I could grab the right thing out, I'm going to have to make more glass. Because we're going to need a lot more now that we're actually making the larger scale one. So if we look in here, am I being blind or do I actually need to search it up? Oh, it's right here. Okay. So we need more of this. So 32 should be sufficient. Actually, we probably need more because this takes, no, this does not take some of it. We can just make this from this. Okay. So then we'll make just like a stack of that and that should be sufficient. So we're going to fill all these in, even the sides back here with the glass, because I think it'll look nicer. And then I need to figure out where we want to put the rest of this stuff. So we need to put down the last wall right here. And now we're going to need to have the interface, which one is going to be an input and one is going to be an output, I'm assuming. And then we need the valve, which is where we are going to bring the air in here. So I want to probably have the valve on one side, like down here, maybe. We'll put the valve down here. And does this need to be turned the proper way if we do this? Yeah, okay. And then the pressure chamber interface, we can put down like one right here. So this is the input, and this is, you know, I kind of want this one to be the input then, and this one to be the output. I think this is super weird. This is just a personal kind of take on this, but that they have, if you have one that's an input, when you place it down before it's formed, it says output on the other side. Technically, that is the output. It's outputting inside here, but I think that's a little bit strange. I don't know, but this whole thing looks a little bit interesting with the textures before it's formed, and you can still access these before it's formed. But yeah, so let's fill this in. I really like that noise. I'm going to assume that this is a texture bug from Optifine, and I should get rid of Optifine. I'm just going to assume that that's what's causing that. And it's really annoying. That looks disgusting. So I apologize for that. That is horrible. But, you know, a little slap on the wrist. I do use Optifine in here because I like to make sure that when we're doing stupid stuff in modded Minecraft and it gets really laggy, that we still have 60 FPS videos at 1080p. And I never want to really have lag. And one of the easier ways that I knew to avoid that, because I am super old school, is Optifine. I don't know if there's new ones. I've been told there's new ones that work the same, but I'll look into that, because these bugs in the textures, which again, I'm assuming are Optifine. I'm hopefully not, you know, incorrectly blaming it on Optifine, but they're from that. So I do like how this looks, though. I think it kind of fills in the room nicely to start. And if we now take a look at our quest book, the next step is going to be compressing air to go in here. So we are going to use an air compressor, and the recipe for this seems to be pretty simple. So we can just make a bunch of those, and then it wants a pressure gauge tube module. So I'm assuming that this is a pressure gauge that you attach to the tubes that you'll run stuff in, so you can kind of like visually see it instead of having to use, I assume, like some gauge reader like a bunch of other mods have. So let's open up some space here, so I don't need to keep dragging things in and out. But we're going to now make, what was it? So we needed the, if I could find it in here, because I'm forgetting the names. We need the module right here, which means we need the gauge, which is going to take some of the compressed iron. And there we go. So we got that. We've got plenty of the tubes here. And then the last thing was the actual air compressor itself. So that one is right here. What is that? Advanced air compressor. So that one takes an advanced tube. How do you... Oh, you need to like progress way further to make that. Okay. So we just don't have a furnace, and obviously we'll just... Okay, I use stone for that. Let's just use cobblestone. Let's make a bunch of these, because I'm actually going to be making probably like 5 air compressors, I would say. That's probably sufficient for me. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we got 5. So now that quest should be done. So we should be good to get the reward for that. And maybe, just maybe, oh, it's just redstone. So I'm assuming the reason it gives redstone is to avoid explosions. And that's because you need to turn off the air compressors as they're putting stuff into this system so that they don't overpressurize it. Because if we look at this, obviously it's got a pressure gauge right here. And if it goes into the red, it risks exploding. So that obviously makes sense from you know what I know about generic physics, but we should probably just hook this up and kind of start messing around with it. So we're going to put down our tubes right here, and we can put down our air compressors. I want to see how these like orient. So does it need to be hooked onto the front? It does. So I want some space on the back of these to set up some of the redstone. So we can put these down just like this, and then maybe run this right like that. And we need to get this one back, put it over here. I'm going to try and keep this looking pretty clean while also not taking up an exorbitant amount of space. So there we go. I guess I could have technically moved the valve over and it would have looked a little bit cleaner. But now we have all of these and they're hooked up. And I believe if we were to slap down this pressure gauge, and we can put it right here. Oh, okay. So this emits a redstone signal. That's how you do it. Okay. So this is going to emit a redstone signal based off of what the pressure is. Oh, wow. Thank you to, I think it's the one probe in here showing that. I would have had no idea. So this emits a redstone signal, and that's what you use to turn these off. And you're going to have them set to, what would this be on? I would do low signal. So we'll put these on low signal, and I want to think about how we're going to have to start pressurizing this and see how the redstone goes up, because obviously, after we just messed around with Botania and the other series, the 1/10 of a mana pool is 1 strength of redstone signal. So really the question becomes, how many, I guess, is this in bar? Yeah, it's in bars. So how many bars in here? Is it half a bar that emits the first redstone signal? Does it start out and then go up by 1 every half? So we need to figure out what it starts out at. And then we want to stop it before it gets to red. So then we're going to have to use a comparator and some other stuff then probably to make it so that the redstone is only hitting these when it's at a certain level. So let's get some coal out, and I believe we should just be able to dump a bunch into all of these and they'll start working. And this is probably going to take a fair bit of time to get up to the correct pressure, but let's see. So this is slowly going up. It's actually not that slow. It's a little bit faster than I expected. Obviously, we got 5 of these running, so that's not too bad. But let's see when it emits the first redstone signal. So I'm going to chill here. I'm going to wait until it emits one, and then we can go from there. Okay, so it would appear that the first redstone signal has started coming out of this. It was at 0.5 bar, like I initially suspected, so that makes sense. It's just probably going to go up, I would assume, by 1 signal strength then every half a bar. And so we can use that then to determine when we want to shut this off by sending a signal to all these air compressors. So that kind of opens up a little bit of an interesting, I would say, problem here, arguably, where I want to see how this emits redstone. So if we put redstone down, it's going to come right out the front, but it needs to be directly in the front of this. So I want to reposition this. So let's just, oh no. Oh no. Okay. Well, that didn't lose too much pressure, I guess. I don't know if you could remove it with the wrench then. I should have probably tried to use that. I don't, okay. It might have been able to do the trick, but I don't know how you get this off then without doing that. But we probably want to put it down over here. Now it's going to read the same thing because this is all one system, obviously. So it's all should theoretically have the same pressure in here. And so we can see it's now at 0.8. And oh, it is. All right, so it's taking a second for this to reach that, but either way, that's fine. So over here, it is reading 0.82. So what we want to do is have the comparator work in our favor here, and we're going to use it so that I think if we put this here, it should be fine taking it right from this. And if we were to put redstone out of here, it's going to pull it out with a power of 1. But what we want to do is make it so that it needs a certain level of redstone that we can set and we can adjust very easily to determine if the signal is actually coming out or not. So I don't use comparators often, but what we should be able to use with this is from one of my favorite mods, we have different levers. That's level. We have different levers, and from create, there is the analog lever, and we should just ponder this because the ponder system is awesome to look at. But basically, it's really, really simple to work with, but we'll make one and then I'll show you guys. So if we take this out, this is going to function like a lever, and I think we should be good to put it down literally right here at the side of this. We might even be able to put it down right here, but that would actually give a signal strength to this air compressor, and we don't want that. So right here is where we're going to have to go with. And when we click it, it puts the power up to 1, and then 2, and then 3. Okay, so this is how the setup should work, because apparently I am horrible at comparators, or I just didn't give it enough time there. But either way, we have the comparator. We want it to be in compare mode, and we want to compare the signal over here that we set it to what it's getting from this. And so that once it's at that level or higher, it will emit that signal. And so we can just have this set to, if it goes up, starting at 1 and starting at 0.5 with a redstone signal of 1, then you have 2 at 1, you're going to have 4 at 2, you're going to have basically, you're going to be doubling it. So if we want to stop this at 4, which should probably be good, maybe because this one's bigger, 4.5, so a signal strength of 9. We'll let it through. And the idea here is because these are burning something like all other machines, and I think if we even take a look in the manual, if we take a look at this and we go to the compressors, I think it said it when I was reading about the air compressor. Okay, no. So it's when I was looking at the liquid compressor, and if we hold shift here, I believe this is the one. something said it somewhere where it said that basically when we end up giving these a redstone signal, that they're obviously going to continue burning the fuel that's in them. They just won't take any new fuel and start burning it. So the problem here is if you let it run all the way up right until it's teetering on the brink of exploding, whether it's going to be blowing up something like your chamber or just some of these pressurized tubes, then these are going to keep going. And they're going to burn through that fuel. And so if it hits that pressure at the beginning of the burn cycle of your fuel, you're probably in a bit of trouble. So I want to make sure that these are shut off and given ample time then to finish, I would say, burning the fuel so that there's nothing left in it. Now, because this is a larger pressure chamber, and I probably keep calling it a pressurized reactor, I apologize for that. I got mechanism on the brain, guys, but the pressure chamber, that because it's larger, it's going to take a lot longer to get up any appreciable amount of pressure. So we can get it a lot closer to the pressure it should be at and then shut it off than if we had a smaller one, which is going to go up significantly faster. So that is one of the perks of having a bigger one, I would assume. But now we just need to run this redstone behind here. And I don't think we need to really do anything fancy. Actually, we might, because it's not going to push into these. So we could... Yeah, so we actually probably do. And if I want to keep it clean, I think one of the options would be using wireless redstone. So we don't really need to use these. If we use like a redstone transmitter and redstone receiver, we could do it a lot cleaner. I don't know if there's any other way because I backed these right up to the wall because apparently I'm stupid. I guess could we just put a block down behind these and run the redstone on top of that? Let's see. Let's test that. Let's see how good and or bad I am at Minecraft. So let's see if we have any terracotta left. So we have some cyan terracotta left. We can just run that back here. And then we can run the redstone here. And obviously it goes into this pressurized tube. Is that going to be a problem? Can these tubes be shut off by that? I have no idea. Let's get out then. I need to just make like a lever or torch or something. I can just grab out a redstone torch. Do I seriously not have any? What? What? I don't have any redstone torch in here? Okay, then. Well, that's strange. I figured I would. I thought I put some back in there. But if we do this, do these turn off? Are these... Oh my gosh, okay. It just... So, redstone disallows this machine to function. Okay, so that works. Now, is something going wrong with this pipe here? Is this going to keep going up? Because it concerns me that this is connected. I really just kind of, this is going to be so bad. I really just want to break this and put this down here then. I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to do it. I should not be doing this, but I'm going to do it. That is so loud. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I didn't position it right. Oh no. We're losing so much air. Okay, whew. So this needs to repressurize, which is going to decrease these a lot, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. We're just getting this set up for today, and we need to make sure that these can run again. So there's no problem now, but the redstone signal we verified does in fact work. So now we just need to run it over here. And of course, I need to get one more out because I just didn't have the appropriate amount of my inventory by one. So this should work here, I believe. And we just need to make sure, do we need to make this a little bit stronger with a repeater? Probably. We probably actually do, because that's probably going to drop signal strength here. And so we're going to have to do one of these. And of course, I'm sure, oh, it's because I used them to make a comparator. That's what it was. Ha ha ha. Figured it out. Okay, if we do that, that should be, what? Oh my gosh, that was one of the rewards given from the quest, wasn't it? Wasn't it? That's what it was. Yup, I had one in my inventory. I am so blind. Please be nice to me in the comments, guys. I'm so blind. Okay, here it is. I think this is the one, though, that talked about what I was just talking about. So this is the liquid compressor here. And this is actually something I want to use. I assume it is probably more powerful than... Oh, it actually says solid fuels can be potent. But they lack the finesse to continue, and they'll continue to generate pressure until the entire piece of fuel is burned, even if the compressor is disabled by redstone. And so obviously I would assume that's because this very slowly consumes millibucket by millibucket liquid. And so when it turns off, it can just immediately stop that. So, and it also says that liquid compressors can burn many fuel types. And one of them, if we take a look at it, is liquid ethylene. So you guys know I love ethylene. If you've seen literally any of the episodes in this entire series, basically, it's my current power source. And so I think it would be very cool to be able to use it with this whole setup. So I may give that a look. I may see if we can, toss one of those down. It would be nice if we could just be like, oh, we want it exactly at 5 bar and then stop it. But now we need to look into, I don't want to say automating this, because eventually it'd be really cool to automate this using the refined storage system, and we will do that. But there is kind of like an entry level automation of this that we can do using just like hoppers and stuff. So if we grab out our wireless crafting grid, I should have hoppers in here, and so I think we really only need one and then a chest, and we probably need 2 of these. So do we want to go with a spruce chest? I guess we probably do. And then we'll just make another one of these. And so we're going to need one for inputting and one for outputting. So as far as I'm aware, if we take a look at this, let's see. So I don't know. So it's importing items. Does it say anything? So it goes and it imports them. 2 pressure chamber interfaces. I don't know if it auto imports. So the interface in export mode with a dispenser upgrade will eject items into the world if there's no inventory. So we can always try. As far as I'm aware from what I've seen in people's videos, the output should automatically output into this chest here, but we might need to force items in the input. So we can always try with just a chest and see if it pulls items in. And we can go, we just need to grab some iron out. We can go with iron and see here. I don't really know how this works, but there's pressure in there. And I assume if we take out like 1 iron and just manually put it in there to verify this is working. No, we can't do that. That's not a thing. What? Is it that we need more at one given time? What? Can we not manually put stuff in there? Okay, I'm going to try a hopper. We're going to try a hopper. And if not, we're going to figure out what I messed up here. Okay, what about this? If we put... Okay. So there we go. So it closes, it opens. That's so cool. It's got an animation that matches that. That is so cool. Okay, and then did it already do its thing? Or is it... What? Why is it making that noise? Add air to the chamber. Oh, it requires 2 bars. So where's the iron though? Is it sitting inside this? Where'd the iron go? Also, why is it making that noise whenever I click it with a hopper? Okay, well that's just that's just buggy as heck. Oh my gosh. Okay, well that's really annoying, but at least it's not messing something up. I don't know where the iron went. I'm gonna say that this needs to get up to 2 bars, so I might wait for that to happen, and then we see what happens here. But it does appear that we do need to have a chest inputting like this. And yeah, okay, so I'm trying to read all of these right now to see. So I assume it's storing the item somewhere in here and we just can't see it. And let's take a look at this. So this is the export section. And so there's exporting settings. Export only items which have been crafted in the pressure chamber. Oh, cool. So we don't need to worry about items being put in here like with other mods where it might accidentally pull out the items that are used for the crafting. Okay, that is awesome. That is such a good setting that is, I feel like, often overlooked in mods that you have to deal with where, if you're trying to pull stuff out of it when it's done and you put stuff into it, it might start pulling stuff out of it that still needs to be used for the crafting. So that is an awesome setting. The other one is all. Oh, okay. Well, there's our iron back. And then so then it gets auto put into this chest. Okay. So if we dumped all this iron in here, how much does it fill up in here before it closes? If I wanted to make all of this, does it do a full stack? If that's the case, then we need to use something other than a hopper because this is going to take forever to transfer stuff. I'm sure most of the time you're not crafting in bulk, at least at the start of this, but then we should use something like a mechanism pipe or something that's like a lot more efficient at pulling a lot of items at any given time. Yeah, obviously the hopper, though, it looks nice. It matches the color. Oh, man, the conflict. I should get a different chest, too, so it matches the color better in general. But, okay, so I think I'm going to let these pressure up, and we are going to first see this run, and then I might wait. It's going to take a while after this runs. You know what? I'm going to do this right now, too, okay? Because I don't know if it consumes the same amount of air when it crafts 64 at a given time as when it crafts 1. And the only reason I would think that is because it's completing a single operation, but I would assume it uses more. So it needs to get to 2 from what it said. And so I might see with the 64, and if we do that, then we're just going to assume this works, because if we were to put down a torch here, it does in fact disable all of these. So this works. This automation is all good. Clearly a redstone expert. But I'm going to let this get to 2 bars so we can see it running, and then we will hop back and hopefully it'll be all good to go. And we can consider the initial part of PneumaticCraft completed in this series. And we are one step closer to the pneumatic armor, which hopefully next episode we can make some serious headway on, hopefully get the armor crafted and maybe start working our way towards the upgrades. But I'm going to let this thing run. I'm going to let it build up some pressure, and then we will hop back and see how stuff is going. Okay guys, so it's been running for a fair bit of time now, and we are closing in on the 2 bar mark, so it should hit it in probably like 30 seconds, but we can take a look here. We can see the redstone signal over here, which is at 2 bars, so a little bit higher than over here. It's giving off 4, so exactly what we thought it would be at when it's at 2, so this should start the crafting very soon. I assume it's going to be loud, but I thought I was really smart and would put speed upgrades in these because you can do that, and they take lubricant. And so there might be a different mod that can make lubricant that works in the craft, but the main one it looks like it wants you to do is PneumaticCraft. Oh, okay, it's popping the items in. One at a time? What? Okay. Insert valid items into the chamber to be compressed. What? Is there something? Oh, it did all of them. Oh, what? Well, that was fast. Okay. Well, that's not bad. Okay, so it's really not that noisy. I mean, it's a little bit noisy. You get that kind of mechanical sound, which that was a horrible attempt at recreating that. But either way, you get the point. But that wasn't that bad. But back to what I was saying before we finish this off, I wanted to put speed upgrades in these. And if we take a look at the speed upgrades, I was like, ho, I'm so smart. They probably thought I was stupid and missed the speed upgrades. And now I'll put those in and it'll be a lot faster and we can test all this out. But it's looking like those speed upgrades require lubricant. And I'm sure there might be a different kind of lubricant from a different mod that you can try and use, like immersive petroleum right there. I think that was. But either way, I would mainly just go for the PneumaticCraft one to do it appropriately. And that's looking like a completely different line in the quest tree. So if we look here, I believe it's down here. So we got to do some crude oil kind of work. And so maybe we'll do that next episode because we're going to need some upgrades. I do want to touch on one thing because people might say this. So we have the security upgrades, which I guess will basically vent off air from a system if it gets way too pressurized so that it doesn't explode. Now, I've seen people put that in the reactor, and that's great. But from what I've heard, you can still, I think you might need to put one in literally every compressor you have and into the system, and then these will keep running and burning fuel. So it's not ideal. I think the redstone is a better setup, but maybe I'll put those in here as kind of like a fail-safe eventually in case the redstone breaks or I was stupid and set it up wrong, or I don't know. We'll put those in there though just to make sure, potentially, but I think the redstone should totally avoid that, and the redstone is the ideal situation to have set up instead of using those as kind of like a, oh no, we gotta let go of some of the air. It always makes me think of the SpongeBob scene. And yes, I am a 24-year-old that references SpongeBob. I do it all the time in my real life because I love that show as a kid. But the one where they are stuck with the magic conch in the middle of the, I don't even know what you'd call it, in the middle of the forest equivalent down there in the underwater world they live in. But they have the guys that are crashing the plane and they're like, we got to drop the load. And they hit the button and they just drop everything out of the airplane so they don't fall. That's what I assume this is basically like, where you hit 5 bar and the system all of a sudden is like, oh no, we got to let go of this air. And it just opens up the valve to vent out any of the air to lower the pressure. And so I assume that's how it works for all of this. But I just wanted you guys to know that I do acknowledge that that's a thing. I'm just not putting it in yet because I'm assuming that my redstone mastery and prowess is sufficient enough to not cause issues. But we now have a system set up to do the crafting with some very messed up textures on it that I'm going to fix. I know, slap on the wrist, Optifine. If it's not Optifine and it's something else, let me know in the comments. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on a future one as they come out every Monday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this format. Obviously, it's me bumbling around a little bit more because I don't totally know what's going on with the mod, and it's a lot of ums and uhs and all that stuff. So if you guys prefer the format where I have everything crafted coming in and I know what we're doing, and I still maybe mess stuff up, but it's kind of stuff that I know and I really shouldn't mess up, then let me know. If you guys prefer this, let me know. And if you want a happy mix between the two, that's also great too. I am totally fine with any of them, but I figured I'd give this a try because a lot of people have kind of commented that they do like more of the, discovery aspect of this and not having everything just be like, okay, bam, 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 and then we're done. And that's how you do it. So maybe it gives more of a let's play feel, but either way, that's going to be it for today, guys. And I will talk to you later. This is all a mess right now. Okay. It's going it's going onto the TNT instead of actually being placed down on the ground. What? Do we need to push it in with redstone from this? Oh my god, I hate comparators. Why was that not working? What? That should be the one that we want. So 3, it should have no signal. Yes, okay.